What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, just in from clearing about 8 inches of snow off of my driveway to find out that the punishment for wrongthink has reached new and shockingly scary levels. Now, we all know that YouTube is king here in terms of video sharing platforms, but there's reliable alternatives out there like, well, BitChute's been around the longest and continues to grow. There's also Odyssey and Rumble and several others. In terms of Facebook alternatives, there's still Minds.com, MeWe, and a few others. And for Twitter alternatives, while Twitter, for whatever reason, seems to have the ability to not only push any of its competitors off the Google Play and Android or the Android and iPhone store, but now it appears that people are literally being fired just for using alt tech. I'm not kidding you. This would be a shorter video, but I figured I would use it to, remind people that my alt tech exists. This person's tweets are now protected. The literary agent owner of the Jennifer DeCharia Literary Agency in New York City, whopping 5,000 followers. It looks like they just went protected. The Jennifer agency was distressed to discover this morning on January 25th that one of our agents has been using social media platforms Gab and Parler. We do not condone this activity, and we apologize to anyone who has been affected or offended by this. She continues to write, as of this morning, Colleen Offline is no longer an agent at the Jennifer DeCharia Literary Agency. Let me summarize. I wonder if this person is even on Twitter anymore. Apparently, yes. Fired for using an alt tech platform. Now, Colleen has not made any kind of official response that I've seen. Oh, there it is. Well, thanks to Twitter and the agency, I just got fired because I'm a Christian and a conservative. Now, the very reason, the public reason given by her employer was that she was simply on Gab and Parler, all tech platforms. Now, look, I know if you just consume mainstream media, you think that Gab and Parler are just dens of the most evil people on the planet. It's simply not true. It wasn't true as somebody who was an early adopter of both platforms. Were there bad people on there? Absolutely. Are there bad people on Twitter, Facebook, and others? Yes, of course. But that doesn't seem to matter in terms of maintaining the tech monopoly. You can see... I discovered you through Ruckus. I'm excited to support you. Now, I am not an extraordinarily religious person, but this is pathetic. Now, maybe this is an at-will employer. Especially you see a lot of people with this kind of stuff in their bios, with pronouns in their bio saying, freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences, especially regarding privately owned companies. And they're also always the same morons that run to Twitter and YouTube when they get a strike, or when they feel like they've been wrongfully banned. They say, "Oh, you banned me because of my orientation. Twitter hates tree people, and this is an outrage." You see Jesse Signal here, another author saying, "I have not used either site, and my understanding is that Parler is bad and Gab is awful." Okay, but I'm still quite uncomfortable with the idea of an employer firing somebody simply for using them. In the absence of more evidence or some sort of wrongdoing, this is a bad road. The Jennifer DeCharia Literary Agency has in the past and will continue to ensure a voice of unity, equality, and one that is on the side of social justice. Apparently that means firing a fellow woman who used a platform that you didn't like. Now, being an at-will employer, I suppose it's her right to do that. Parler basically is a bit of an echo chamber, just like Twitter is. That's not what I want for it. That's not what I ever wanted for it. That's just because the nature of their marketing and people leaving Twitter who were at the time conservative. I believe if Parler was given more time to grow, more time to become mainstream, that would not have been the case. Parler needed to be able to offer more features, better features that Twitter couldn't, in order to kind of attract more normie followers. How about an edit button, perhaps? But other than that, I never really saw anything crazy. I never really saw anything crazy. And here's where it started, from YA Whispers. Does JD Lit Agency know or care that one of their agents frequents an alt-right social media like Parler and Gab? Simply for the author back in November saying, I am now posting on Parler. It's a great platform with no censorship. Giving away a few critiques there next week. So an author who wanted to give this work, and here's this cucklord boss, thank you for bringing this to my attention. This is on January 24th. I have taken swift action, and as of this morning, January 25th, she's no longer an agent of this agency. Is this the world that these losers want to live in? And this already now, Google now pressed in a lawsuit to dump Telegram just like Parler. A former U.S. ambassador wants Google to do to Telegram what it did to Parler, asking the California quote to require it to remove the Telegram Messenger app from Google Play Store because it facilitates bad behavior. So does Twitter. Now, I understand if a platform is like signal boosting it or doesn't have any kind of moderation in place, maybe where these Play Stores would get involved. But that wasn't the case on Parler. They were just too small at the time to have the wide scale, moderation tools that a billion-dollar corporation like Twitter had. The removal of Parler was purely a political move. Amazon Inc. cited its concern about bad content on Parler and pulling the Plugs app. A channel on Telegram is dedicated to Parler refugees. Some Telegram users urge followers to drop plans for a second protest. What's wrong with that? Wasn't Twitter actively supporting and signal boosting via their trending tab different protests all summer long? This is disgusting. This is a very scary precedent to be set, and one that is not going to end well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it. Please subscribe to this channel. Please check out my many alt tech site options. I'm going to list them all to you right now. Check this out. And all I want to do is remind you that I have a thriving Discord community I'd like you to join. I have a strong presence on Twitter alternative Parler. You can find me on Twitter. And you can join my subreddit. I'd love to see you on all 4 platforms. Links are in the description of this video. You can also support the channel by clicking that join button down below, becoming a member here on YouTube, or signing up at my Subscribe Star, which is also linked in the description below. Both forms of support go miles to support people like my wonderful editor, Sean. Or my wonderful thumbnail creator, Ben. You don't have to do these things or join these communities, but it would be neat if you did. Now let's get on with the video.